Martha Dubina Roby, Roby, born July 26, 1976, is the U.S. representative for Alabama's 2nd Congressional District. She is a member of the Republican Party. She defeated incumbent Representative Bobby Bright on November 2 during the United States House of Representatives elections in Alabama, 2010, and assumed office in January 2011. Roby and Terri Sewell are the first women elected to Congress from Alabama in regular elections. Early life, education, and legal career. Roby was born in Montgomery, Alabama and attended New York University, where she received a Bachelor of Music degree. She then entered the Cumberland School of Law at Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama, receiving her J.D. in 2001. She is the daughter of Joel F. Dubina, a senior judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. Her maternal great-grandfather was Eng Bunker, one of the famous conjoined Siamese twins, Chang and Eng Bunker. Before entering politics, she worked at the law firm of Copeland, Franco. Montgomery City Council elections. Roby was elected to the Montgomery City Council in 2003, defeating a total of 5 opponents, and winning 54.88% of the votes cast in her district. Tenure. In her first term on the council, Roby joined 3 other council members and then Mayor Bobby Bright in opposing the building of a shopping mall in East Montgomery, opposed privatizing the disposal of household garbage, supported a 10-cent cigarette tax increase, and argued for a state sales tax holiday. She headed a committee focused on illegal immigration. The committee's goal was to create a law that revoked business licenses for companies that used illegal aliens. Committee assignments. Immigration Committee. U.S. House of Representatives elections. 2010. Roby challenged incumbent Democratic U.S. Congressman and former Montgomery Mayor Bobby Bright in Alabama's 2nd Congressional District. In the 4-candidate Republican primary, Roby ranked first with 49% of the vote, barely missing the 50% threshold needed to win the nomination and avoid a runoff. Rick Barber ranked second with 29% of the vote. In the runoff election, Roby defeated him 60% onto 40%. Roby was endorsed by both Newt Gingrich and Sarah Palin in the most expensive race in the district's history. Martha Roby spent a total of $1,240,275.64 on her 2010 election. Most of her funds came from large individual contributions. Her top contributor was Jim Wilson and Associates, a Montgomery real estate developer, who contributed $25,300.00. Roby's top industry contributor was Leadership PACs. They contributed a total of $106,010. Roby defeated Bright by 51% to 49. A difference of 4,780 votes. Roby won just 7 of the district's 16 counties: Autauga, Elmore, Covington, Coffee, Geneva, Dale, and Houston counties. Bright won Montgomery County with 59% of the vote. Ultimately, Roby's margin in heavily Republican Autauga and Elmore counties proved too much for Bright to overcome. 2012. In her run for re-election to her seat, she received the endorsements of 36 mayors in Alabama, the Alabama Farmers Federation, and Susan B. Anthony List. The 2nd had long been a conservative district, and reverted to form as Roby won a 2nd term, defeating Democrat Therese Ford 64% to 36%. She won 11 of the district's 15 counties. However, she lost her home county of Montgomery again, 53% onto 47%. 2014. Roby won the election with 67.34% of the vote, defeating Democrat Eric Wright. 2016. On March 1, 2016, Roby won the Republican primary with 64% of the vote. Roby narrowly won the general election. Tenure. Roby has sponsored 6 bills of her own, including equals 112th Congress, 2011-2012, equals H.R. 3454, a bill to place a cap on acreage included in the Conservation Reserve Program, introduced November 17, 2011, reintroduced in the 113th Congress as H.R. 349, equals 113th Congress, 2013-2014, equals H.R. 1406, a bill to require employers to provide their employees with 1.5 hours of paid time off for each hour of overtime put in by the employee, up to a maximum of 160 hours of paid time off per calendar year, and to require employers to provide monetary compensation to employees after each calendar year for any unused paid time off. Introduced April 9, 2013, H.R. 1406 has passed the House of Representatives but has yet to become law. H.R. 2089, a bill to prohibit the Department of Education from providing incentives or coercing states to participate in voluntary partnerships with other states to develop and implement shared academic content, standards, and assessments. Introduced May 22, 2013. Committee assignments. United States House Committee on Appropriations. United States House Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, and Science. United States House Appropriations Subcommittee on Military Construction and Veterans Affairs. United States House Appropriations Subcommittee on Labor, Health and Human Services, and Education. House Select Committee on the events surrounding the 2012 terrorist attack in Benghazi. Political positions. She has voted with his party in 98% of votes so far in the current session of Congress and voted in line with President Trump's position in 100% of the votes. Roby self-identifies as a staunch conservative, who explained true conservative values thusly: "I believe in the sanctity of life. I believe in the protection of the Second Amendment. I believe in small, limited government and lower taxes. I believe that we should live within our means, and I believe in the central role of faith and family in our lives." Quote, LGBT rights. Roby opposes same-sex marriage regulation reform. In December 2011, Roby voted in support of H.R. 10, the Regulations from the Executive in Need of Scrutiny Act, which would have required congressional approval for any major regulations issued by the executive branch but, unlike the 1996 Congressional Review Act, would not require the president's signature or override of a probable presidential veto. Immigration. Roby is an opponent of amnesty policy for immigrants, and said in a 2010 debate, "I will never support any legislation with the word amnesty in it." Quote, abortion rights. Roby opposes abortion. She supported legislation prohibiting taxpayer money from paying for individual abortions. She has introduced legislation to defund Planned Parenthood, saying, "The more taxpayer dollars awarded to Planned Parenthood, the more abortions the group will perform." Agriculture and Environment. Roby is a member of the Subcommittee for Agriculture, Energy, and Forestry, and believes that federal agencies need to be rein ed. in. She believes that the Conservation Reserve Program, CRP, should be limited. Roby believes CRP is causing a loss of farming production. She has also stated that CRP is no longer helping the environment. She also has spoken out against many of the Environmental Protection Agency actions, specifically the MACT ruling. She has voted in favor of barring the EPA from regulating greenhouse gases. She opposes the Obama administration's Clean Power Plan, which sets a national limit on carbon dioxide pollution produced from power plants. She has said that the Clean Power Plan is an attempt by Obama to protect his legacy at a cost to the American public. It's disappointing, but not surprising, to see the president is once again more focused on his legacy than he is on the priorities and needs of the American people. Quote, "The League of Conservation Voters gives her a lifetime score of 5%. Balanced budget amendment." She supports a balanced budget amendment, debt ceiling and government shutdown. In 2011, Roby voted against raising the debt ceiling. In 2013, she again voted against raising the debt ceiling, which led to the 2013 government shutdown. She voted against the legislation that reopened the government 16 days later. Disaster relief. In 2013, she voted against disaster relief aid for victims of Hurricane Sandy. Education. She wants to abolish the Department of Education. Federal funds for NASCAR sponsorships. In 2011, Roby voted against legislation that would have prohibited federal funds from going towards NASCAR sponsorships. Healthcare. Roby has repeatedly voted to repeal the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. In March 2012, she said, "I have taken 26 votes since I took office to completely repeal President Obama's healthcare law, block its provisions, or defund its programs. I remain committed to dismantling this costly expansion of government." Quote, Roby supported Paul Ryan's Roadmap for America's Future, which would privatize portions of Medicare. But she has also stated publicly that she specifically opposes privatization of Medicare. Foreign and defense policy. Representative Roby has consistently voted to prevent any defense spending cuts. She has also voted against a reduction in Navy and aircraft procurement, as well as voting "yay" for various extension of the armed forces budgets. She has only focused on cutting non-defense spending. She has pledged to maintain defense spending at a minimum of 4% of GDP. Roby voted nay to remove American forces from Afghanistan by December 31, 2011. Food stamps. Roby voted in September 2013 to cut $39 billion from the food stamp program. The Montgomery Advertiser noted that about 41,000 households in Roby's southeastern congressional district received food stamps in 2011. National Public Radio. She has voted to cut funding to National Public Radio. Social Security. Roby supported Paul Ryan's Roadmap for America's Future, which would privatize portions of Social Security. But she has also stated publicly that she specifically opposes privatization of Social Security. Roby has a score of 0% with the Alliance for Retired Americans, which indicates a pro-privatization stance on Social Security. Taxes. Roby is a signer of Americans for Tax Reform's Taxpayer Protection Pledge. In 2010, Roby signed a pledge sponsored by Americans for Prosperity to not vote for any global warming legislation that would raise taxes. She has pledged to abolish the inheritance tax, which applies to inheritances valued above $5 million. She pledged in 2010 to abolish the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. President Trump. In October 2016, Roby withdrew her endorsement of Trump. Donald Trump's behavior makes him unacceptable as a candidate for president, and I won't vote for him. In February 2017, she voted against a resolution that would have directed the House to request 10 years of Trump's tax returns, which would then have been reviewed by the House Ways and Means Committee in a closed session. Electoral history. Congresswoman Martha Roby. Official U.S. House site. Martha Roby for Congress. Martha Roby at DMOZ. Biography at the Biographical Directory of the United States Congress. Profile at Project Vote Smart. Financial information. Federal office. At the Federal Election Commission. Legislation sponsored at the Library of Congress.